Hello parents, welcome to Parent Connect. I am Paula Reese.
And I'm Carmen Bounds.
And we're here today to help you connect with our IT department. We have Mr. David Ackridge, our executive manager, and Ms. Tracy Mathis, our telecommunications manager. Welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to see
Thank
y'all.
you. Glad to
It's
be
great
here.
to be here.
So, technology, that's a big word.
Covers
a lot
a
behind
broad
it,
area.
right? A very big word. So, and here in Mobile County with our school system, we have some great things going on. And I think one of the things that I'm interested in, what's happening at Davidson High School?
The security that's going on there.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big deal. We have looked at the situations in our country today. You know, we're looking at some grim prospects of
Unfortunately.
things
Yes,
that are happening in
unfortunately.
schools. And you know, one of the things that you see in surveys and things that you read in articles, parents want their kids safe in school.
Exactly.
And I'm talking about physically safe.
Yes.
You know, we talk about cyber, and we'll talk a little bit about that later, but they want them physically safe. And unfortunately, there's not been a solution nationwide for that problem. There's been things that's been tried.
Right.
And our department just wanted to take a shot at it. And I
But I
think
think
that,
y'all took a pretty good
Yes.
shot.
Trying something new.
and you know, you don't have because you don't do. And so
Right.
we wanted to, we had our thoughts, Tracy especially, and she'll get into talking about that, had her thoughts on, you know, what could be done. She's our telecommunication manager. Intercom stuff falls under her
Right.
realm, which is the main focal part of this project. And so we got to looking at it, got to designing it, and said, we can do this.
Okay.
And that's where it took off from there.
I think one of the biggest things that we, I guess, uncovered through this whole thing is during a crisis situation in a school, your personnel there has so much to do. There's
They do,
so many
right.
things that
Different steps to take.
Right, and you're given this little checklist of everything that you're supposed to do. But in a crisis situation, who's going to remember to go
It's
lock
very
the door?
hard.
Right.
It's very hard.
Yeah, who's going to remember to call 911?
Exactly.
The adrenaline's
The
going.
adrenaline's
and-
going.
Yes.
There's so many things
Exactly.
happening.
And their main concern are the students.
That's
Yeah.
exactly
and the
right.
safety.
And they need to get to that point wherever this situation is happening, whatever it is, whether it's a fight or whether it was a gunshot or anything like that. You know, the principal and the staff needs to get to there. So that's what happened here with Davidson is that we discovered that we need to figure out a way that we can automatically certain things happen without a whole lot of human intervention.
Right.
And so that's how this came about, and through our technology, some technology we already had, some that we had to
New
acquire,
ideas.
new ideas. But it came to play, and it worked out great. And we've got a model at Davidson High School that I think all parents in that area, especially if they have a child that goes to Davidson High School, should be, you know, they should feel better.
Right.
We have safe schools. But I think you always have to you have to go that extra step to be a little safer with
Well,
what
we're
you're doing.
trying to advance how we do things just because society is so advanced
That's
now.
right, exactly.
And it's
And
starting
so-
off at Davidson, and hopefully
Well,
things, you know, will progress from there.
And the issues that we had that I found through working with Cisco, a company that we buy products from, I sat on their advisory council and we did a thing where we worked on the cyber and physical security in a closed session, a phone session. It was like a conference call. And what we found is that everybody has security. They have door locks, they have
yes.
cameras,
Right.
they have intercom systems, they have
The
digital
basic
signage.
things that you find everywhere.
But they're not talking
not
together.
To each
They're
other.
not connected.
So,
No,
you know,
it's
if
a
you need to
connection.
lock the doors and run the cameras, those all have to be done as separate entities. You have to handle that
And
and,
there are
have to do
different
that.
people doing this.
That have
That's
to do
right.
each
Right.
thing.
That was it.
And so when I need the door locks to here, and then I need these cameras to come on, it had to be physically triggered one at a time. And like Tracy said, you're supposed to get the playbook out and say, well, I'm supposed to do this and this while
Right.
somebody's
Follow your
in the
steps.
school harming children. So
Right.
we looked at what we had. Tracy discovered, you know, in the product that she was buying for our intercom system, it had the ability to control anything that was on
That's
our
amazing.
network.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And so she gave me a task to draw this up, and we blueprinted it and put it together, and then
I think one of the other things that, just going back to the parents, this is Parent Connect, is that, we're teaching our staff at Davidson and the students how to react in a situation. Because, when you know your safe place or you know what you're supposed to do, the chances are you're going to have less of, of a
Of a
victim.
confusion and
Possibly victims and anything
Right.
else. So parents need to know also, especially if, like I said, if you have a child that goes to Davidson, outside that school you see there's lights everywhere. There's
Yes.
a green light that glows all the time. That means that school is fine, and it is, you enter and come on in that building. But when
And
you
there's
see a
security.
red light or you see a yellow light or amber light, that means caution, that means stop, do not come in that building, and that means no matter what's going on.
We've got to learn to
away.
respect the signs. And it's
Exactly.
just the same as trying to knock on the door.
Well, and for first responders, David and I, we've talked a lot to the police in Mobile. And one of the things that they complained about, and really not complained about, but concerned about, was when they have gone to our schools to try, when there's been a situation that they've been called, trying to get there themselves.
They can't because
extremely
of parents
difficult.
Right.
and media and everybody else is trying to get there.
Part of communication, parents letting,
That's-
students letting
yeah.
their parents
Right.
know
Right.
right away that
Well,
there's
yeah,
something
but your
going
police
on.
officers are, a mile off because they can't get to the school, and so that's. We really need to respect that when we get, especially like I said at Davidson High School and any school which you got emergency. Just respect the fact that the police officers need to get there to be able to take care of,
situation at hand.
the situation.
Parents, when we come back after break, we're going to continue discussing because this is great information, parents. We want everyone to understand, whether you're at Davidson or anywhere, the level of respect, because that keeps our students safe as well as parents safe. Thank you. We'll be right back.
When parents are involved in school, they get more at this and less at this.
Welcome back, parents. So let's continue this discussion. It's really exciting. So what does it look like, Ms. Mathis, and how does this work if something happens, there's a situation at the school?
So let's just take that it is a red lockdown. So from the principal's panel or the front office panel, there's several different areas in the school that a personnel could trigger the system. They would actually go to the panel and press the red lockdown button, and things such as all the lights in the school, inside, outside, they're in the gyms, they're in the locker wells, they're in the restrooms,
Stairwell.
there's stairwells, they're everywhere. The lights would turn red, notifying the situation that this is a red lockdown and red
Everybody
lockdown.
would see it.
The procedures for red lockdown should be followed. Also in the hall, we have the digital media signage that's in the hall that, I don't know if you've ever been in one of our schools where we normally have information about the schools.
Right.
That totally goes to a red screen with, it starts telling the students, to follow procedures. You have
Audible
announcements.
And all of this is going on at the same time.
Every computer in that school will go to a red screen. Every
Wow.
smart board will
That's
automatically
wonderful,
turn
because
on.
if you're in the computer lab or someplace else with
phones,
earphones, don't
right.
Yeah, and even if our digital whiteboards are off, they turn
Back
on.
they come on.
automatically.
and automatically
That's
turn
awesome.
on.
The doors will automatically lock so that no one from the outside can get in the building. Of
in.
course, it's always egress. You can, the students can always get out of the building.
Mm-hmm.
But in a red lockdown situation, it could be that there's something outside in the school yard in that area that we don't want it to come into the building.
And I think one of the greatest things about how this is set up is that once the red is triggered and the door lock's locked, the badges that we have, if you're a teacher or a student, you can't badge into the building, but first responders badges are into the system, so
Would work.
a police officer can badge in with his badge. So all of our city police officers
And
are
good
in
note
there.
here, automatically from that push of the button, 911 was called.
notified.
They're
Okay.
notified
So
automatically.
they're already on their way.
They're already on
Help's
their way.
coming.
Talk about,
We-
I mean, this is some great collaboration. When you talk about 911, you know, you're talking about the police.
Well, another thing
Yeah.
too,
School
we
itself, all the
have
students.
an open channel to the downtown precinct on Highway 90. So once the alert is triggered,
They have access.
they have access to all of the
Our
200
cameras.
cameras in the system
That
at
are
the
in
precinct
Dayton.
on Highway
Oh, wow.
90.
Yeah, they,
Yeah.
by the time a police officer arrives on scene, the precinct would be able to say, okay, they're here
This
and
is the
located in the
situation
building.
in this
and
area,
this is
that
where you
area.
need to go to. This is the door
Instead
you
of
need-
getting there
and
and
trying to
figure it
trying to
out.
figure out
That's
this or that.
That's exactly right.
And that also means that they've had to do some, they already know the layout of the school.
That's
It's
it.
not like you get there and, you know, like you see
And
on
the thing
TV,
that-
you ask for
Yes.
the map. so
Let me
you-
find the
Exactly.
blueprints to
The-
figure
yeah.
out.
Well, the other thing too great about this is, so school could be going on and all of a sudden 7-Eleven was robbed. And we know that school's getting ready to get out in 4 or 5 minutes.
Yes, it's
From
not
their patrol
necessarily in
car.
the school.
From their patrol car, they can put the school into hold.
I mean, this has just went to a whole different.
Yes,
Right.
Because, and
it's-
then think about, we were talking about safety. I would know that my child is safe because this is actually off campus, but I don't need my child to walk into this.
That's exactly right.
And from
It's
preliminary
amazing.
surveys that we've done at the school, these are small surveys, but the green light effect is what I like to call
I
it now.
love it.
Yes.
There's a feeling of, okay, if the lights are green in here, they're in my classroom, everywhere I
Mm-hmm.
go,
Right.
I know that on campus and outside around the campus and surrounding
Everything
areas,
is
I'm
safe.
okay.
I think so.
Uh-huh.
And so there's the students seem to be sharing with
Oh,
us
they
there's a
love it.
psychological effect to them that they feel
and
safer.
I believe that when you think about it, everyone's doing the rings so they can see and constant, but the students at that school know someone knows what's going on. And if they need access, then immediately
It can
they have
happen.
it to see. Yeah.
Well, and that's why we were asked, why are the green lights on all the time? A, because we
Yeah.
want everybody to be assured that everything's good. Second is we always know the system is working.
Right.
Exactly.
So anytime that, if the lights were on, would only turn colors when need be, we don't want to
You
ever
would
be in a
know.
situation
Right.
where we're going to take a chance that the technology is working or not working, because we
Right.
all know how technology is.
Exactly.
But when the green light's on, that means the system is up and running.
I like that, not only for the students and everybody that's inside the school, but anybody else as parents.
Right.
You could be going to a meeting, you could be visiting the school that day, and at least
Or
you'll
you could
know
have heard
if it's
something.
green.
Oh, yeah.
And so if I hit, oh, that's not true. There's the green light because sometimes
I drove by and I saw that the lights green. Your kids were making it up. Well, you never
Yeah.
know.
Well, just one quick little story. I have a neighbor there's a neighbor that lives across the street from Davison High School, and she was telling me the other day, a friend of hers called up and said, "Did you hear something crazy? I wonder if that was a gunshot over at Davison." And she said, "Hold on a second." So she opened her door and she looked
Wow.
out and
You
she
see
could
the
see the
green
green
light.
light. She said,
Nope.
"Everything's fine. It's all green." So the community is
Unity,
even
right.
understanding what the lights mean, which that's exactly what we want.
And one of the final things too is that this system is not, we call it, it's not invasive.
No.
It's not burglar bars and metal detectors.
Right,
So the
right.
kids don't feel confined and pulled in, even
Like
though
they're
they feel
constantly
safe.
on lockdown.
Exactly.
Right.
And we think that's an advantage also in the fact that they don't feel like they're imprisoned, if you will.
Right.
That's right.
Well, it makes you feel that at school it's not safe. Something bad could happen, especially bars in the windows and things like that. A green light seems much more subtle.
Right, exactly.
And the system can be used for anything from minor, like
Yeah.
if the bells are, if picture day is running over and I don't want the kids in the hallway, or if somebody spills something in the hall and we don't want, they can put it in like a hold yellow alert hold, and the bells just stop ringing and everybody just stays in place until they re-trigger
Well,
it
and
back.
Instead of you get on the intercom
There you
making
go.
an
Yes.
announcement,
Exactly.
and then we're interrupting
You're in the middle
instruction
of
on
teaching,
time.
the light turns
Right.
yellow, the teacher knows, okay, we're going to be on hold
Something
for a few more
simple, it's,
minutes,
you
so
know,
let's
it's
just
way to
continue
Let's
to
just
teach.
continue to go.
Right. I like that.
So,
Well-
so it's a system, and then there's a teacher assist button that's in
Oh,
each
yeah.
classroom too that they can push and hold for 3 seconds. That opens a channel that turns the cameras on to record if the situation is medical, discipline, something of
In
that
the
nature.
classroom.
In the
In
classroom, every
itself.
teacher has access to it.
Wow.
And this has
Yeah.
been used multiple times this year. Tracy's trained the students how to use that system in case the teacher has, some
An
type of medical
emergency.
emergency or
And
something.
we had it happen.
And once
we've-
again, collaboration, but the shared ownership piece with the students.
That's exactly.
Well, that's a great
That-
point. The
yeah, they
ownership part of
feel
it is a
this
great.
hey, this
This
is
is
my
for
school,
me. Mhm.
Right.
And then I have some ownership. It's not like hands off,
Well,
but
and
you're trusting me and respecting me that I'm the student.
Well, and they
in an
know that there's
emergency, I can do
cameras.
something.
They know that
Right.
that school is covered with cameras. So there's not really any place you can go in that school that you're not going to be,
They will
recorded.
always see what you're doing.
Always see what
Right.
you're doing. So when I spoke to the students, that's what I told them. I said that this button is here for you in case your teacher is the one who's in a medical emergency or in a discipline situation and needs to call the office. We want you to be a part of this to help.
To be aware of the situation
And
and
so
ask
they-
call for help.
They love it, and then when I told them, if you want to go ahead and take a chance and press that button, being kidding around, we're going to know who you are.
As soon as you
Oh,
punch
yeah.
it, the
We're gonna-
camera goes back 45 seconds, so we're going to know who walked
Oh,
up to the
wow.
panel, who pushed it, and who recorded it.
So
it's
we're not.
You'll get caught.
And it's
We
been
haven't
in
had
since
any
the start of the school year. It's been used numerous times,
But
and it's not been
for
abused
the right
at all.
purpose.
For the right purposes.
It's not been abused at all, so we've been very excited about that too.
Well, parents, we hope you've enjoyed this information. We're going to continue talking after break about some great and wonderful things going on in the Mobile County Public School System as it relates to technology. Thank you.
Our food, our forests, our water, our planet. Together, our hands can save it. Connect your hands with ours, and we can save our land, our water, our future. Join us at nature.org.
Hi, parents, and welcome back to Parent Connect. We've been talking to David Ackridge and Tracy Mathis about security at all the schools and all the wonderful things going on at Davidson with their new security program.
Perfect.
So how did this come about to even, we know funding and, right.
Well, David, I'll let you talk about the grant and how we got with the city of Mobile.
So after we had the idea of putting this together, obviously money was going to be an issue, and there's a grant called COPS grant, and I don't know the acronym that it stands for, but it's basically a federal grant that comes down for working with safety and security.
The security
At this
part.
point in time, I don't think it's that way this year, but at that point in time, a city entity had to put in for the grant. So it made sense to us because
Right.
that partnered us with the city of Mobile, and we got to speak with the mayor and the police department. Actually, the mayor looked at several different proposals for the grant. He chose ours after we
That's
presented it to
wonderful.
him.
It is. That's
Awesome.
wonderful.
And so we applied for the money and was rewarded. The grant was $500,000, and we had to pay, I think, 25% of that. We paid a little over $100,000 of our own money, and the rest of the money came in from a grant.
From the grant.
That's wonderful.
And
That
with
is
that, we were
awesome.
able to, and the beauty of this system is when it's put in other places, you can use existing infrastructure. Well, we thought, well, since we had the grant money and it had to be spent here, we would upgrade all the equipment, the cameras, the door locks, the digital signage, all the things. We would upgrade it because we kind of expected this to be kind of a show place.
Right.
And to be seen, and we wanted to make sure it all worked.
Yes.
And so we were able to upgrade our network infrastructure at that school to house all of it. And the city has been just marvelous to work with.
Well, it
They have
just
been-
shows that we come together.
Yeah.
We can work together,
Together.
and it's all about our children. But then it's in the community, they feel safe. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's truly one of the questions that we always ask is, how come you picked Davison? We do have 12
we weren't
high
going to ask
schools.
that because we're sure some parents are listening.
Well,
and want-
it's just to let the parents know that because it was a school within the city that we chose Davison, but one of the other reasons, the big reason, is because Davison was built back in 1962 or something
it
like
was
that.
62. An older
62, very old school. One of the things that we wanted to prove, not only just within this, Mobile County, but other states looking at this down the road is that this doesn't have to be a brand new school.
Exactly.
Doesn't have to be a new school.
Yeah, we took a school that was, very old and was able to be successful with that. I mean, sure, we could have taken we had a brand new school being built at the time. We could have done it there, and people would have said, "Oh, well, that's easy because it was a brand new school."
It came
blah
as
blah
part
blah.
of the new school.
No, we took an older school just to prove our point that it could be done. It doesn't matter how old the building is. So.
And there's a diverse population at Davidson
yes.
too.
Exactly.
I mean, I think there's 20 languages spoken
29
there. I mean,
different
it's
languages.
unbelievable.
So that shows too.
Yeah.
This is something where communication is universal.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And the system being audible and visual, when you have students with hearing impaired or visual impaired, which they have some students and stuff there, that gives you a chance to look at how that, but they have put codes and stuff up in different
Yeah.
languages and everything.
You
So
can't
everyone
say
knows.
enough
So
about
everybody will be able to know.
Right.
Well, and one of the things about this is, when we went to Davidson, we picked Davidson, not really understanding how well the staff there was going to,
Right.
welcome this type of, changes. But I want to tell you something. This part of the success over there has been because of the staff. The principal and his teachers have embraced this.
willingness.
They have thought of things that we never even thought of, like David was talking about, the posters that they put around the school saying know your colors and all the
Right.
different languages.
They've taken ownership.
They took ownership of this, and it's just like, man,
and it's only going to be successful if that
oh,
happens.
they
Right.
totally.
Well, and I think it's because how we started the conversation. Parents want their children safe,
it.
but the teachers in the building, they want their students safe. But then we need to
They
feel a
need
sense
to
of
feel
security
safe to
also.
say
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we've
Right.
left the
Right.
teachers out of this, but that green
Right.
light in there is not just
Yeah.
students. That teacher
That's why the
knows that
teacher-
things are
yeah.
safe there too. And
Exactly.
we've interviewed lots of teachers who have come in and exited the system, and we've read a lot about systems all over. And teacher security is a big draw
It
for
is a
why
very
we
big,
can't
important
get new
thing.
teachers and keep them
Exactly.
retained.
Exactly.
Well, moving forward, just to let you know, we are going to do Denton Middle School next because it shares the same
Connected.
campus.
That's
Yes,
wonderful.
they're right there
Right.
together.
Makes
So
sense.
anything that happens at Davidson, we're going to be able to put Denton and vice versa, Denton at Davidson.
So if one goes in
Right.
lockdown, they both
But
need
Yes,
lockdown.
and which
Makes a
needs
lot
to
of
happen
sense.
anyways.
Right.
But then we're going to concentrate more on our high schools. We are definitely going to try to do at least another, we will do Denton and maybe one high school
Yes.
this
Okay.
coming school year. So every year, and hopefully as money becomes,
As funding
funding becomes
becomes,
available.
Well, we're
and
gonna get a
we're
chance.
We're
We're-
going out and drumming up
We're
to
gonna
the
go
State
shake the
Department
bushes
to-
and try to get some money.
That's great.
I don't think it's going to take much because when you look at the dynamics of where we are, unfortunately,
Right.
you all have done a phenomenal job.
Well, I
guys
know
done
that
a
there's an
phenomenal job.
article on the Washington Post that was posted in 2017 that said 72% of parents for public school children are willing to pay out of pocket for school
Yes.
safety. And so we're going to take that as, we can get some help financially with
definitely.
The
that.
willingness
Definitely.
of parents.
Right.
Oh, I definitely
Right.
think so.
Right.
I think it's very important that we look at how we can get funding and then also how we can use our existing infrastructure because we know it's not going to cost the $500,000 at every school.
Right, exactly.
We'll be able to cut areas and make it still just as equitable working where it works, but not spend near about that much money.
Right. Well, I tell you what, parents, here at the Mobile County Public School System, we are learning and leading. And if you're a community partner and you're listening, you're watching, please know that if you're interested, we're going to let you know at the end of the show who to contact. When we come back, now this is physical cyber,
Right.
physical security. So when we come back, we're going to talk some about cybersecurity.
Hello, I'm Renee Phillips, your host of Homeroom. Will you join us as we talk with the students, teachers, and staff about all of the great things happening in our schools?
That's right, Renee. Not only are we here to keep you informed about the great things happening in our schools, but to also keep you updated on safety issues.
Our show, Safe Schools, looks at ways to keep your child and our students safe.
Not only are we looking at ways to keep your child and our students safe, but to keep you informed on how to connect with us.
Manténgase informado aquí en Conexión a Padres.
And we also score big from pre-K to high school with MCPSS Athletics. And then Inside Education puts it all together for you, showing you the ins and outs about news and events taking place across the Mobile County Public School District. We do this to keep you informed.
Welcome back, parents. So, cybersecurity, that is scary.
Yes.
Very much scary. And I don't think a lot of parents understand Mobile County Public Schools, we all, but most importantly, you're at the top of your game with that. And it's a difficult job.
Exactly, and before David starts, I'll just kind of, I've been working on the physical side of it for Davidson High School, and we talk about physical security, how important that is, and it is. But I just don't know, sometimes the parents are getting how the, social security and all the social media and everything that's going on.
And how much that requires security as well.
It really does. And,
Being vigilant.
monitoring those kids' phones, those tablets, those iPads, seeing what they're doing, putting limitations on these things. It's great. We're in technology, and we're not talking against technology. It's a great thing, but you gotta watch it.
Kids are underage, you have to pay more attention.
Well, underage, overage, I don't care. If you're
Everyone
still in my
thinks that's
house,
true.
you're gonna be.
The intent is not as it started out to be. Would you agree, Mr. Ackridge? We had a
Yeah, I do. And we did a Parent Connect show on that particular topic, and we've aired it again. And I think it's very important. And now the big buzzword today is ransomware. And so we have gone, there's no way to protect yourself 100%. And basically what criminals do is they come in and they infiltrate your system through the computer system, and then they tie up all of your data. They tie up all your computer systems, and they just encrypt it to where you can't use it. And it's basically shut down. And that is until you pay the ransomware.
They hold you hostage.
Basically.
Unlike other hostage situations that may be human hostage situations, when you pay, they do release. And there's an ethical code amongst these criminals that say, when you pay, you have to release, because if you don't, then
But you're
people
still
won't
having to
continue to pay.
that. Wow.
Yeah, and it's upward of $50,000 to $100,000 in most cases.
Oh my goodness.
Now, recently, the school district has bought an insurance policy to help, if we're ever hit, to help pay and alleviate a
Who
lot
would
of
have
the
ever
problem.
thought, that you would talk about a ransom for the computer?
technology.
Yes, on the technology.
Recently, after the incident that happened in Iran, where the missiles were fired and over there, the state of Texas said that one of their infrastructure units was being hit 10,000 times a minute with ransomware viruses that they were having to push back. Our systems hit multiple times a day of people trying to get in to tie our system up, to get to their student social security numbers, to get to their data, to get to their HIPAA, their HIPAA stuff, and we look at the 14 million social security numbers that we have in the system and the 500 million records that we have stored. It's upon us to keep that.
What's something in a nutshell, quickly, that you could leave with parents when it comes to cybersecurity?
Don't click on anything you don't know what it is.
That's exactly right.
And make sure it's got HTTPS.
HTTPS.
And an email S, it has that S there, that means it's secured.
And if you think for any reason it's strange, it is.
It is strange, exactly.
And look for
Don't
spelling.
open it.
Right. So, but we're doing what we can in the physical world and in the secure world, and we like to think that we stand on top of it, and we'll continue to grow.
Well, we appreciate
do.
it. Parents, if you need any information, you can contact, what's the number that parents can reach you all at?
You can call us at 221-5142, I think is our number.
221-5142. Thank you so much, parents, for being with us today. Carmen, this has been a great show.
It sure has. Thank you so much for being here.
A lot of information, and parents, we will connect with you again soon. Thank you.